Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. Oh my god, you're looking at my first high-tech setup. This is a Oase Cinescaper, the 60 line, 60p or 60 centimeters. In English, it's approximately 20 gallons. And this aquarium and the fabulous cabinet it comes in is now being sold in the United States after mostly only being available in Europe and other countries. And I jumped on it. I'll talk about the kit itself. Oase is known for its filters. Ironically, I'm not running the Oase Biomaster filter in this tank. I'm actually running the ADA SuperJet, which was supposed to be in my Game of Thrones tank, which was going to feature all stainless stuff to complement the cylinder for the CO2, etc., and also the general machismo vibe of this tank. But for various reasons, I decided to use that filter here. So how about this? It's all tissue cultures. I put them in a marathon session yesterday where I woke up, I went, purchased some super clean Dragonstone, from Ocean Design Aquarium here in Chicago, and he sources these from SR Aquaristic in Elgin, Illinois. And the great thing about this stone, besides how wonderful it is that SR Aquaristic, Scott, who runs that place, power washes all of it so there's no clay or debris, and you essentially can put the stone right in, which I did. Dragonstone can be very messy. I have some pieces that I still won't put in my tank because no matter how many times I wash them, they seem to degrade. So I've got two pieces of awesome spider wood with that telltale orange color that I love, which complements the Java stone. I went with a black substrate. This is UNS Fine, Black Fine, and I got that at Ocean Design Aquarium. It's also available online. You know, I might have opted for the brown, but I'm using brown in one of my other tanks behind me, and I'm not going to flip the camera, so I decided to just go for contrast, go for the material that I had, and that was the bag of aqua soil. I used the fine particle for the primary, and then on top the extra fine for all these tissue culture plants. Makes it somewhat easier to put them in the ground. Everything is tissue culture. I'm going to endeavor not to have any pest snails. I love snails, don't get me wrong, they'll be in my other tanks, at least in one other tank, and I'm going to put a nearite or 3 in here, as well as some other algae eaters, because that will ultimately inevitably be an issue. No matter how well you take care of a tank, I have to anticipate some algae growth. I have to do a water change every day with a new setup. I violated ADA's suggestion for their power filter, which you're looking at here. It is so quiet. What a beautiful machine. A bit tough to deal with compared to some of the other more plug and play, but hopefully worth it. Certainly is badass. Instead of using just the charcoal and some tossable biomedia that they give you and suggest that you use for the first month and then replace with biomedia, I did a more traditional setup in this filter. I've also used Purigen as well as charcoal, so I didn't eliminate charcoal, the chemical part. That's up at the top of the filter. In the middle is biomedia. I used the best Matrix and then Biohome, and then at the bottom I have a sponge to collect all the little plant debris that inevitably will come up. Really, when you plant anything, especially at this magnitude, I put all these plants in one 3-hour marathon session. Planting tissue cultures, you need to get into a zen. It's labor intensive, but all gardening is really. You're bending a lot. You're being frustrated by things floating around or not rooting properly. Obviously, I put these in when the tank had no water in it, but nevertheless, you lift your tweezers, no matter how expensive your tweezers. Every other time, you don't get it like they do on YouTube. It sort of sticks to the tweet. Anyway, it's frustrating in a love-hate way, like golf, I suppose, or some other passionate obsession where you can experience the little things, you know, a centimeter, and you're having a tantrum. I've got Acularius Mini, which is dwarf hairgrass, and that's one tissue culture, and then behind it I have a higher stem plant. I have some repens, Juncus repens, I think it's called, what you're looking at there, and then a kind of a dwarf hairgrass, but of a larger size, which you're looking at there. In a way, I'm trying to get a gradation from small to large, but whatever wins I'm going to work with. I believe that what's happiest in the tank will show itself in due course. I'm loving the Anthracnecki. That's the red plant, and I'm really hoping this high-tech setup I can keep that plant. Here is Pinnafatata, Hydrophilia pinnafatata. I know I got some of that wrong. This will grow into one of my favorite plants, kind of a bushy fern, like an African fern might be its generic name or popular name. And on this side, I call this Bucephalandra Island. I've got some of the Anthracnecki rosewig, which is a slightly smaller version of the red plant, but a couple kinds of bushes, Kadang and a green SP, all lodged into the rocks. They don't need intense light, so I'm running intense light, but I got them sheltered. In the back, I'm trying stem plants, which I seldom have ever done. And I've got Rotala Hara, the Vietnam. I've got Bacopa Carolina. That's the green plant there. And another form of Rotala, as well as some of that higher grass. And this highlight and this awesome CO2, I don't think you can see the bubbles, but yeah, you can. There they are. The SuperJet is pushing the water across the tank like so, and then it's kind of cascading backwards and dispersing those bubbles, and this is working like a charm. I'm running this tank at about 78 degrees, and I'm super, super psyched. Anyway, I'm going to put some moss when I do a water change tomorrow. A little, I kind of dig the spiderwood without it, honestly. I think sometimes we just get too compelled to put every space a plant. I love a ton of plants. If you want to mitigate algae, you'll use a ton of plants, and so I'm probably definitely going to use the moss, but I'm considering just having it rock-borne and leaving these naked stems. I'm assuming when I add a little Java fern, when this Pinnafatata, when these other ferns get bigger, it will cover some of the bareness of the wood and make this all a moot point. But this 20-gallon aquarium from Oase is making me smile, and I hope it does for you too. I've had my hands in the tank a ton the last 48 hours, and that's sort of my de facto slogan for this YouTube channel. Always keep your hands in the tank. Ciao for now.